Oli Giroud is helping us a lot in certain things that maybe we were lacking. The most important is he's scoring big goals, which is what we ask, especially me as a midfielder. This is what we want. The strikers put their chances away and make the team win points. Stevie, your point of view yesterday was he's just complimenting Giroud. He's not necessarily giving he's not having to go at Morata. Do you agree?
No, I think he's clearly having to go at Morata. I mean, there's nobody else. Batshuayi is a younger player, is a squad player who's now gone on loan to Dortmund. He's praising the Frenchman. And he's basically saying, I think he's basically saying, this guy hasn't cut the mustard up front, and if we had somebody banging the goals in more regular, we'd be in the top 4 at least. And so, he's backing a Frenchman over his fellow countrymen. I think it's quite clear. No?
I don't see it that way at all.
So who's he having a go at?
Why is he going to turn round and have a go at Morata now?
Right, so who's he talking about?
We've got a cup final coming up next week.
He's not bothered.
Why is he having a go at Morata now? I don't see it that way at all. I think he's answering the question and saying that Giroud pretty much has done well, and they hadn't been scoring goals, which they hadn't been.
Because of Morata?
Well, he's part of the reason they haven't been scoring goals, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Fabregas is coming out and saying, oh, by the way, it's Morata's fault.
So if you're Morata and you see those quotes, you haven't got a problem?
I don't think so.
See, for me, I think if he stops and saying Giroud's given us something that we didn't have before, we could put that down as a big physical presence, somebody who holds the ball up, somebody who's better with his back to goal. But then once he continues and says he's scoring big goals, then, I mean, as much as it's applauding Giroud, I think it's having a little dig at Morata at the same time.
Yes, but I don't know what it is this week, but you've got some sort of Morata loving.
Shaka, if I come out, right? If I come out and if we're losing a lot of goals, right? And I come out and say, well, we're losing a lot of goals. Are you automatically going to say, hold on a minute, he's having a go at me?
No,
you're the goalkeeper.
No, but if another goalkeeper comes in and you stop letting in goals and you say, well, we've stopped letting in goals now because things are better at the back.
Morata's not the only guy that's played up front apart from Giroud. They've tried Hazard, they've tried other players, they've tried Pedro.
Because Morata's been awful.
Accepted, Stevie, but the parallel you just drew, without there being a change, it's not similar at all. It's not a similar scenario at all.
I don't see how he's pulling Morata out.
I tell you why,
he's telling the truth that one of the problems they've had is being up front.
Which is where Morata played before Giroud came in.
That doesn't necessarily mean oh, by the way, it's his fault.
So who's he having a go at?
If they've got half the amount of goals this season as they had last season, then clearly the problem they've had is putting the ball in the net.
So when Olivier Giroud comes in, things have basically, paraphrasing Fabregas here, things have picked up. He scored some big goals for us. If we've been doing that earlier in the season when Olivier Giroud wasn't there, it's a dig at Morata. It's a clear dig at Morata.
So he's not just praising Giroud.
It's a bit of both. It's both.
Jules, what do you think?
So you want it both ways now?
Jules?
I think it's a dig at Morata. I think it's a bit of a dig at Eden Hazard as well, who, hasn't done maybe as well as he should have done. And coming from Fabregas, who, has had a very average season as well, I'm not sure he's the right guy to open his mouth and be very critical of the forwards in his team. But I have to say, I think Giroud has done well since coming over, and I can see the difference between Giroud in good form where he is now, and when Morata was starting and not playing well before Giroud arrived. So I would agree with Craig and Shaka on this one.
Oh, Stevie.
Hold on a minute, you just threw Hazard in as well. You just said he was having to go at Hazard, Julian.
I think so.
You just said he's not only having a go at Morata, he's having a go at Hazard as well.
Yeah, both of them.
Wow. Who else can we throw in then?
Who else
is playing up front? Pedro. Oh, Pedro, aye, absolutely, aye. Villian, it's Villian's fault because he gets taken off after 70 minutes, so that's his fault.
I think when you bring in a striker from Real Madrid and Juventus, that's played at both those clubs, and he's played in the Champions League final, and he's a Spanish international, and he's not cutting the mustard. I think there's only one person that's been aimed at, really. Of course, Hazard's played through the middle, and it's not been suiting him. Well, you're the only one.
I'm not
You're the only
disagreeing.
one.
I'm not disagreeing. Morata has not been great.
Obviously,
but I don't think he's pulling him.
Well, you had him in the team. You had him in the team earlier in the week.
Well, obviously, we'll talk about this more in the lead up to the cup final. Just quick, who would you have up front, Morata or Giroud, for the cup final?
For the cup final?
Yes.
Listen, Giroud at this minute in time is in better form than Morata, but I would seriously have to think
Hold
about
on. It was how many days ago? Where's the tape? How many days ago you sat here and argued with me that Alvaro Morata
What I
should
told you
start
was
ahead of
no
Olivier
problem.
Giroud? What's changed? What's changed in
told you.
3 days? 3 days?
He's got
I
selective hearing.
like how TV says, well, Giroud's in better form, but I'd have to think about
I'd have
it
to have a
really
good
hard.
think.
Well, I would.
Well, have a good think, Stevie. This is what the SBI has to say about the
I
cup
think
final.
Morata's the man for the bigger occasion.
Yep, he's proved that. Manchester United, 46% to win the FA Cup. Chelsea coming in as favourites according to the SBI at 54%. And PSG, of course, have had a great season domestically, won everything there is to win. One little blot, of course, is that exit in the round of 16 of the Champions League, getting knocked out by Real Madrid. Was this season a success for PSG, Jules?
Yeah, success, of course it is. It's always success when you win a domestic treble, even if you're way ahead of everyone else. The Champions League is the big failure, but you also, now you can see that you lost against the team that yet reaches another final, yet looks better than anyone else. So I guess that makes it a little bit easier to swallow if you want, but they wanted to do better in the Champions League. That's why they bought Neymar. They didn't. So it has to be a failure as well.
You see, this is where I disagree with Jules, and as much as I understand, you know, domestic competition is your bread and butter, with PSG, and the difference between PSG and everybody else in Liga, there's nobody that comes anywhere close to the same bracket. You're judged solely on the Champions League, and to go out as disappointingly as it did, I'm sorry, I don't see this as a successful season at all.
Jules?
Yeah, no, I agree with Shaq. I think, you know, the treble was the minimum they could achieve, and they did it. But he's right, that the Champions League was the one thing they wanted to at least improve from the last, 5 years where they always reached the quarterfinal. Well, at least apart from last season against Barcelona. But the quarter seems to be the ceiling, and they wanted to go at least a step higher to the last four, the semis, and that stopped so early against Real Madrid in a game that I felt that time they were almost there. They were so close, but yet so far. And yes, that's a disappointment. He's right.
The problem in the game now is money. Dan, money has superseded everything, and by that I mean the appetite to win the Champions League has now, I think, just superseded the appetite and, in some way, credibility of just winning your own league.
Right.
Whereas quite a few years ago, when the 150, 200 million pound player wasn't floating about, or the 150, 200,000 pound a week, which seems average now, winning your league was the be all and end all.
Yeah.
And anything else was a bonus. It seems for a lot of these super elite clubs now that there is so much money going around that the only thing that's going to keep owners happy and managers in a job is one thing and one thing only, and that is winning the Champions League, and that all comes down to money.
The amazing thing for me is it's not just the clubs here, the players as well. When Neymar left in a month or Sunday.
We start today's show with growing speculation that Neymar could be leaving PSG in the summer. The front page of Marca says that Neymar's father has told PSG he wants to go in December, apparently. He met with Madrid representatives in Paris. PSG responded by saying Neymar has no price because he's not on the market. Julien Laurent is with us. Jules, you've told us many times on this very show that you think, yes, maybe one day Neymar will end up in Madrid, just not next season. Are these revelations maybe starting to change your mind?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I mean, the story is gathering pace, both in Spain and in France now as well, which was not the case before, where it was solely newspapers from Madrid basically reporting that. This is how PSG see the thing. PSG see it as for their image, for what they're trying to achieve, what they want to do. They just can't afford to let him go because they believe that he can deliver the Champions League to them, that he has taken them to the next level in terms of sponsorship deals, merchandising, shirt sales, etc., etc. But maybe this is how PSG should see it. Neymar is not happy in Paris. He doesn't like it. The stories I've heard, he's too cold. The city is not pretty enough. The parties are not good enough. He misses Spain. He wants to go back. Fair enough. If you get 300 million euros or 350 million euros, you would have made a huge profit. Neymar doesn't want to be there. You can buy 2-3 players who maybe is going to make this team better. So maybe you should sell him. But I can see why they'd be very reluctant to do that.
You got any sympathy for Neymar?
I'll just spend a couple of weeks in Bristol, Connecticut, and then we'll talk to him about parties and shopping, and winters and too cold. This is just a total, it seems, lack of commitment. Yeah. Lack of commitment by a player to a club who are trying to reach, as Jill said, the next level. They're trying to bust through that Champions League bubble and get right in amongst the elite clubs in Europe. And they hedged the bets on this guy. And he has been troublesome for them. Obviously, the injury he couldn't do anything about. But the difficulty is, and it's exactly what Julian said, is that they don't want to be seen to be buckling after bringing him in so quickly. But clearly this is a guy who's already shown if he doesn't get his way, then things could be problematic for the club on the field, off the field, and for the new manager. So it really is a conundrum, but then you ask yourself, is this not something PSG must have thought about at the time when bringing him in? You know, this guy could be more trouble than he's worth.
We didn't really see this coming, did we?
No.
Like when he made that move, you thought, understand, come out of the shadow of Messi. But have you kind of lost a bit of respect for Neymar?
Oh, why? Absolutely. I mean, when you're spending that amount of money on a player and he's saying all the right things, I'm sure, is this guy going to behave himself? It doesn't even come in your thoughts. I mean, to even contemplate that, 12 months later he wants to leave would never even cross their mind. For me, the key is the head man, the owner, because he is not going to be made to look bad by anybody. And for him, it's not about the money. You know, everybody who runs the club at PSG will be telling the owner, look, if we get an offer, take it, get rid of it, we'll move on. But money's not important to the owner. It's all about the perception. And if he's made to look as if he's getting done over by Neymar, doesn't matter how much money they're offered, he'll say no. So that's the conundrum they have.
Having said that, then you can't really see Neymar next season and say they turned down a $350 million. Him going, all right, okay, this is where I am. I'm going to enjoy the cold.
It's no. If he does want this move to go through and pushes for it and it doesn't happen, you just feel things are going to get worse from here on in. It's not been easy ever since his arrival, and if he becomes more toxic to that dressing room, you grow even further concerned. And now, as much as Stevie says, it may not be about money for PSG. The fact of the matter is, I'm reluctant to bring financial fair play into this, but UEFA are having a look. If PSG do want to burst through that barrier that stands between them and the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona, you feel they have to add 2 or 3 more players. Now, can they do that without selling Neymar? Can they do that without falling further afoul of these financial fair play restrictions?
The other side of this, if you're Real Madrid, do you want to spend 300 million on Neymar, given what we've seen this season, and given how successful they've been?
I think there would be a doubt about that, particularly with the price tag. But to go back to briefly to another point, we can debate the merits of League One, how good, how weak, how strong, how difficult it is to win, all these scenarios. But he's really been, I think, so disrespectful to this league.
Yeah,
there's some weaker teams in it, I know that, but the antics, the disrespecting opposing players, particularly of the smaller teams, the moaning about challenges that players are putting in on him, the list goes on. He's got a scant disregard for French football. And I think for someone who wanted to get out of Spain and they've given him an opportunity, I think that's horrendous.
Julian, how much do football fans in France echo Craig's sentiments?
Yeah, completely. It's been a real disgrace at times, which is, I mean, I don't know, for someone of his caliber and of his talent, you would have never thought ever that he would behave the way he did. And let's not forget, he came to PSG. PSG didn't do anything. He took his phone and called, or his dad called Nasser El Khelaifi, the PSG chairman, saying, hang on, we want to leave Barcelona. You still want us because they wanted him in the past, couldn't do it. It's Neymar who made that deal happen, not the other way around. And for Neymar to behave the way he did all season, like Craig said, on and off the field, and yes, there were some great goals and great assists, and he has great stats and all that. I don't care so much about that. It's more his attitude that were a big problem. And then 6 months later, in December, to turn around and say to the club, you know what, actually, we made a big mistake. We didn't want to come in the first place, and now we want to bugger off, and we want to go back to Spain and to Real Madrid. I mean, like, who does that? I mean, come on. The lack of respect for the league and for PSG, out of this world, I think.
Where's he going to be next season, Jules?
That's a tough one. You know what? I still think he's going to be in Paris, but it's probably a bad thing if he were. And I don't think Thomas Tuchel would enjoy having Neymar disturbing him and his dressing room either. So you know what? Maybe it's better for everyone if he goes to Real Madrid in the summer.
It's Europa League final this week. Atletico Madrid taking on Marseille in Lyon. Atleti 60% favourites according to the SPI. Marseille coming in at 40%. The bookies have Atleti 3-1 on. Marseille outsiders at 9-4. Jules, let's start with you. Explain to us why you think maybe Marseille can upset the odds.
Well, Atleti are the favourites, like the SPI said, and rightly so, they're the better team. But Marseille have defied the odds all season. No one thought they could do as well, both in the league and in Europe, but they have. No one expected them to reach the final, not even themselves, and yet they have. I just don't think Atleti can underestimate them because they have their superstars in top form, Payet, Thauvin, Luis Gustavo, and Mandanda is back in goal as well. So I think they will give a good game to Atletico.
It's a convincing argument, Shaq. You buying it?
No.
Why?
As much as I'd like to see West Ham's Dimitri Payet win it, I just feel Atletico Madrid have been the best team in this competition for quite some time. Made harder work of Sporting and Arsenal in the last 2 rounds than I thought they would. But it's theirs to lose, and I just don't see them dropping the ball, not at this stage.
West Ham's Dimitri Payet.
I don't know where that came from.
He jumped ship and ran back to France.
Learned everything he knows about football at West Ham.
Right. He scored some goals recently.
He's a good player.
But
I'm sticking to that.
If there's a team that can dampen flair in anybody, it's Atletico Madrid. And Marseille recently have been doing well because of the flair.
I mean, Atleti will let them have the ball, and maybe those players that you mentioned can do something special. But we're talking about a side here that has changed over the last 3 or 4 years, but it's ultimately got the same ethos. Hard to break down, physical, prepared to give you possession, and a big threat going forward.
Does it make a difference that they're underdogs? In the sense that can they go and enjoy the occasion a bit more, given all the pressure is on Atleti?
I think that's,
from a player's perspective.
Well, this is a team that's won La Liga in recent years and been to Champions League final. They're great at handling pressure.
Yeah.
Does it mean they can relax Marseille? I don't think so, because there's still expectations from your own fans, and the game's in France. So I think they're under just as much pressure now that they're there. What's the point getting there and saying, oh, we're here, let's just enjoy it, and if we don't win, we don't win? It doesn't quite work like that.
Interesting stuff from Luis Suarez about the future of Antoine Griezmann. It is exciting that we're bringing in players with Antoine's quality. He will not be taking anyone's place, but he will join to win important trophies with the world's best team. Now, after that interview, the interviewer came out and said that Suarez was being misinterpreted because he was mixing up his tenses. Jules, what do you make of all of this?
I'm buying that Barcelona are interested in Griezmann, which we all know. That's for a fact. Nothing is done yet, and I think Griezmann feels at home as well at Atleti, and I think he's really torn in between staying because he loves it there, obviously, and they're a very competitive team. But also he admires Barcelona so much. He wants to play with Messi, but who wouldn't? And I really think that right now he's completely unsure on what to do. And I think what's also at the heart of the thing is the release clause. Right now it's 200 million euros if you want to sign Griezmann. But from the 1st of July, that goes down to 100 million euros, which would be a bargain for him. So he wants his future sorted before the World Cup starts, which would mean it would still cost 200 million euros at the time. But, you know, I think it would be very hard for him to turn down Barcelona.
Now, L'Équipe have published a starting 11 with Griezmann in the side, but with everybody else as well. Dembele, Coutinho, Messi, Suarez. You can't play those 5 together, can you?
And I wouldn't imagine that's where Griezmann would play.
Sure.
I mean, that's not.
It's much deeper.
Yeah, that's a lot deeper. I don't see that. You can never have enough good players. I mean, what it would do, it would give maybe a chance to rest now and again Lionel Messi, a chance to rest Luis Suarez. If you look at these guys, they play a hell of a lot of football.
Sure.
Right? If it's club football, the European competition, international football, they travel. And we've talked about the Messi and Ronaldo before, where they hardly ever get a rest. When they're fit, they play. And I just think at their stage of their careers, and I'm thinking about Suarez and Messi, it would be an ideal opportunity to be able to give these guys a rest now and again, as well as playing with them. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see how he plays there. The way that caption was, he certainly goes up front with Suarez, with probably Messi underneath for me. And at the end of the day, do Barcelona need him? Right now, no. But you know what? You know what the best teams do when they're at the top? They strengthen, because that's the best time to do it. So I wouldn't be shocked if they did go.
I think Antoine Griezmann adds to any squad, including Barcelona's. If the option is there for him, I think, of course, it excites him. You sign him, and then you fill in these spaces some other time. As of right now, on that starting 11, I don't see how that works.
Exciting.
It would be.
Yeah, a lot of goals in it, most for definite. Liverpool need a point against Brighton at Anfield to guarantee Champions League football. That is really the big and only talking point going into the final round of matches in the Premier League. Steve, surely.
Come on.
Brighton got nothing to play for.
Brighton got nothing to play
So
for.
they're dangerous.
Oh. Oh. Shackles
Well,
are off.
They're hardly dangerous when they've got something to play for, so I don't see how they're dangerous.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
listen, this would be absolutely catastrophic if Liverpool failed to get a point at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. I mean, it's inconceivable. It's not impossible, but really, come on, what's the odds?
I don't think I've ever seen Steve confident about Liverpool this season. This is worrying. That you're confident.
Oh, I've been pretty confident the last...
Have you?
Well, since the turn of the year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think they can blow it?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so. They've got a good bit of momentum. They've got some injury problems, and I think that's almost as big a concern. Picking up even more injuries than what they've got with the Champions League final coming up. But no, I don't see it. Not particularly not at Anfield.
If you're a Brighton player, how do you kind of go into this game?
Thinking about where you're going on holiday.
Yeah.
You know, how much work do I need to do during the pre-season? Because in the old days we just took the whole 6 weeks off.
Yeah.
So you really are kind of celebrating and thinking about what you've achieved by staying up, because a lot of them people expected them to go down, and you're kind of relaxed in your own mind, so you've kind of switched off.
Hello and welcome to Extra Time. Just a reminder that we are now 7 days a week, so we'll be there tomorrow. Well, you'll be there tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow.
I'm just
Check out me for.
Are you waiting on the clap?
Yeah, like.
What do you mean?
Waiting on one of them?
It's a big announcement.
As though
It's
we-
exciting.
You're looking at us as though we don't know. We know.
Well, I'm just telling everyone.
But don't look at me. I know.
Yeah.
And
Tell everybody.
Tomorrow's the first show on a Saturday, and 3 of us are working here.
Who's the odd man out?
I'm going on holiday soon, aren't I? That's
Yeah,
that.
Monday. You're not going to Monday.
Yeah, I know. I can't do tomorrow.
Where are you
So you're
going?
going on holiday Monday and you're off
England.
tomorrow?
Oh, England.
England, my lover.
If we're going to do 7 days a week now, Shaq, how are you going to fit
Yes.
Only one thing has to happen.
Only one thing I
Look
know.
at it.
No, you're right.
Jules is still here. Why has our producer kept you here, Jules, all this time?
Leave it.
What? What do you think's more likely to
I love
happen?
extra time. I love a bit of extra time with you.
Yeah, I bet you do. Friday night.
Yeah, Chelsea top 4 is not going to happen, but it will be the most likely of the two.
Jules, you're too nice. You're too nice to our
Thank you,
producer.
Jules.
You're too nice to our producer, Jules, sitting back in London, patiently waiting, and with your young family at home, while our
Careful.
less
I do
than
anything for
sane
Pete.
producer keeps you hanging around. You have way more patience than me, I'm telling you.
That's not difficult.
I've got more patience
What's
than
more likely to happen?
Well,
Nico. He went to-
Julian running out of patience or Billy running out of patience?
Hold on. Who's the most patient, me or him?
in what scenario?
All right, in the studio, I'm not the most patient.
All right. I respect this.
What about at work? I have little patience at work.
Yes,
I respect
You drive me crazy.
Yep. Thanks for the feedback.
Out of work.
Yes.
A normal life. Who's got the most patience?
Are we talking golf course?
Just in
Normal
general.
life.
No, he went in.
We don't follow you home and say what you did to him, by the way.
You went in the barber's a day and walked out because there was two people sitting down. You said they were crowded out the door.
Oh, you think that was nothing else to do for the rest of the day?
You didn't.
I didn't have time to go and sit at the barber.
What did you have to do?
Mind your own business. What's it got to do with you? What I do every day?
Eat. You had to eat.
Absolutely none of your business. I've got things. What type of thing? Absolutely none of your business. My private life is my private.
Adele on Twitter.
You do tell everyone you love Adele.
That's a little tidbit.
Yeah. A little teaser.
Why did you put a tweet out yesterday saying well done to Newry Town FC?
He thinks he's being clever now.
Right.
He doesn't know that I have an affiliation with Newrytown FC. All right, thank you very much.
Who are Newrytown FC?
You're asking me questions every time you.
Well, it's
my job.
What's this about? Is this like I'm on the interrogation or something?
well, sorry, what's your affiliation? Because I'm quite interested now.
A friend of mine's the head coach. How's that?
All right.
Anyway, come on then. Keep firing away, firing away.
Who's the friend?
Oh shit.
What's his name?
Where do they play?
His name is Darren Mullen, and guess what? They play in Newry. Oh, there's a shot. They're called
What league?
Newry FC.
What league?
League of Ireland, isn't it?
Honestly, God.
Why didn't you just tell us that the first time? It was quite a nice story, but you got all angry. Old age, isn't it?
You know, for a man with so much patience, I'm running out of patience.
Wow.
Sorry.
Jules is still here. Did I ask the Neymar question? Would Neymar and Ronaldo work at Madrid, Jules?
Well, we need more time for that. We need more time. Yes, of course he can work. Great players can play with each other, but he can also not really work. What do you do with Benzema? Who do you put on the right? What formation do you play? I think it's more complicated than just can they play with each other. Of course they can if they want to and if Zidane fancies it, but it could also not work out. So it's more complicated than that.
What was more unlikely back in August?
What a kipper there. He's not happy at all.
It's too easy.
Yeah. Sorry?
So did your mate from Newry
Sorry.
Town, hey, did he ring you and say, can you tweet that out? Because there's no way you were looking for Newry Town's results. No way. You wouldn't know where
If
to
you
find
must
them.
know, Newrytown were promoted for the 4th time
Yeah, I know.
in the last 5 years. What do you mean you know? You
Well, I saw your tweet.
You have no idea.
Yes, I know because you saw your tweet.
I have no idea.
But how did you find out? Because you don't...
Because I follow them. I follow what happens with Newry. Is that such a surprise?
Why are you
Where do
getting angry?
Where do you find it?
What do you mean, where do you find it? Have you ever heard of a thing called the internet?
You can't operate the internet.
Hey,
You can't operate it.
hey. Have you ever heard of a thing called a cell phone?
You can't operate one of those either. That's true. 3, next.
Tell you what.
Somebody must have told you.
Serious.
Jules, who do you think will have a longer run
somebody's-
in the World Cup? Messi with Argentina or Ronaldo with Portugal?
Messi with Argentina, 100%.
100%? Yeah, that is it.